Hey guys, insight number one this week, come follow me time. Yeah, it's so good. So we're in Isaiah 40 to 49 this week, and this is a group of verses, scriptures, chapters, however you're going to refer to it, that speak to, I guess, those that are suffering under the Babylonian rule, but it also applies to any of the Babylonians that are going to want to listen. But it's that time where they're under that bondage. There you go. They're under that bondage. So there's some really, really good things in here. A lot of language around getting to know Christ and knowing Christ better. So last week we talked specifically about our relationship with Christ and how that works, and why are those verses important to us now. This week is more around how we actually have that relationship with Christ and the blessings that come from it and the benefit it is to us. So that's sort of the theme of this week. So hopefully you get some things. I've picked out what I, again, prayerfully felt to pull from this week's study. There's some really good points in the Come Follow Me manual. Definitely go look at that and sort of have a look more and maybe have a discussion with your family about what it means to you guys and what it means in your family to stand as a witness or to be that servant of Christ. What is that for you and how does that look for you? And we'll discuss that a little bit in the third insight. But I sort of that's a really good discussion to have in a family situation, or even just to think about it and journal yourself maybe, because it's, what does it mean to you? If you've got any comments on that, please leave them. We'd love to hear from you. So we're going to start off on Isaiah 40, verse 31. Now this is perhaps my favourite verse of Isaiah, simply because I just love the imagery and the symbolism in it, and it inspires me, and I love it, and I know it to be true. So here we go. This whole chapter though on 40 is about redemption, and it's about this is Isaiah preaching what Christ is and what he can be for us. So that's what I really like. That there's a whole lot of talk around how he did things and the great and the might that he has, and that there's no one that's going to be bigger than him or better than him. And we talked last week about, just how awesome he actually is. And if you actually look to see that, you'll see that and you'll know that. So that's how I know that this verse is absolutely true. So, chapter 40, verse 31. 40:31. And it'll probably sound familiar. Okay. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Now, you might say, well, I've waited on the Lord and haven't been made stronger, haven't done this, haven't done that, and so that's not true. I'm like, yeah, but you got to remember it's the Lord's timing, and he probably gave you the strength you needed that day to do what you needed to do. It doesn't often come with excess of strength, and I certainly don't have, the ability to run anymore. I could probably fast walk a few spaces, but I can't run anymore. But that doesn't mean that literally it's meaning running. It can be running with your mind, can be sharp and good. You can be running, doing things well in life, or things aren't going so good, and yet you're still getting up and going. So there's a lot of symbolism and meaning to these words. So let's deconstruct that a little, have a look at it. So link it to with Doctrine and Covenants 124, 18 and 19. Now, if you don't get to write that down, remember I put everything in the notes, so you just look there. Now, Orson Pratt elaborated on the scripture, saying that those who would mount up with wings as eagles would be renewed with the light of truth. So it's not necessarily that I'm suddenly going to sprout eagle wings and start flying, although that would be super cool. It's about having that renewed strength through the light of Jesus Christ, which is really cool. And honestly, this has got to be one of my favorite verses. Probably the favorite verse of Isaiah's whole thing, although we always discover new ones, but this has been my favorite for quite some time. And it's hope and anticipation in and of Christ. So it's not that all the answers I have right now, but it's that I know they're going to come, and I know because a lot of them have. And as I've gone through this journey and learning to wait on the Lord and have patience with that, I have seen those things come in. And it's a process that you're going to have to learn if you want to do that. It's not something that's just going to boom, there it is. And you'll see it sometimes with the big things, but it's looking for those everyday little things, the strengths that you get, the abilities that you have to deal with just the littlest things. Like this morning, our power went out, and I'm like, okay, I know who to call, and I know how to go fix that part, and that's working, so it's that problem, yeah, I can fix that. And because of the past experiences I've had, and what I've learnt from people, and, you know, like, just even like that little thing, and that I knew that, for that situation, I knew what to do. I didn't have to panic. I didn't have to stress. It was okay. So, I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but it's that hope and anticipation in and of Christ. Now, if you don't know this to be true of your life now and your life to come, you need to know Christ better. And indulge in this week's readings and study to get to know the truth of the scripture, because the verses that come after this, through like 41 through 49, are just full, well, maybe not all the way to 49, but they're in there. They're just full of this beautiful descriptive language of how he's going to be there and meet you where you are. There's like a ton of scriptures. You could list off so many of them, and I'm sure you guys do have them. But like, think about that as you're going through this week's reading, and mark those ones. At Don't Miss the Study did a really good list of them if you're signed up to that. Though, and I printed it out, it was a little hard to read, so I did write it out, and I'll probably post a picture of that and tag them in it, because, you know, like, it was their list. That's totally their credit. I appreciate them putting together, because it's a really awesome list, and the scriptures that go with those, like, if you are this, if you are that, really cool. You'll see what I mean. But so I'll put that up as well today, I guess. So I just wrote it out because the printout's a bit tiny for my old eyes. Okay, so indulge in that, honestly, and that's a really good way to think of it. Indulge in these scriptures to learn that better. If you are desiring to have this in your life, that feeling that if you wait, those, you know, that wait on the Lord will rise up like that, and they will have the strength to run, whatever that means for you, or they'll have that you know, that walk and not faint. Like, you will be able to keep going. You will have that strength. It will come to you, and it's a beautiful, like, way of putting it, allegorical way of putting it. So I just love that. Elder Uchtdorf said, hope is like the beam of sunlight rising up and above the horizon of our present circumstances. It pierces the darkness with a brilliant dawn. And that's what this is about. This is hope and anticipation in and of Christ. And it does pierce the dark with a brilliant dawn. So thank you, Elder Uchtdorf, for those words. So there you go. So that's the first one. Hang around. I will put in that list that I wrote out. It's in my writing, so maybe a little messy for you guys, but you should be able to read it. And of course, if you want to look at the pretty printed one, Don't Miss the Study, because they'll definitely have it, and you can download and share it. They want you to. They provide a lot of free resources like that, which, thanks guys, awesome. All right, hang around. We're going to do the second one soon. See you there.